So the person is being paid. The only problem is the deductions have taken out all the money at that particular occasion. And so, but some organizations have what you call hardship allowance. And so the hardship allowance will mean that they probably give the person a grant or a loan for that period, which they can then take out. So it depends on the organization, right? And how the organization sees, because a person might experience real hardship if, for example, he or she was waiting on the money to pay rent or to pay the mortgage, or just to come to work. And then they will not be able to turn up because they have no money for petrol or pay the train or rail fare. And so you can find ways of paying that person some money or lending that person some money, and then either recover it from the salary or use it as just a generous offer. Or so the agreement could have been signed by the person completely forgotten about it, or the person chooses to ignore it. Now it has come to the time when that deduction needs to be made. Again, the agreement can be oral or written. Now, the problem with an oral agreement is that the benefit of the doubt will rest on one of those people. And we know what happens is that the employee is like to be given the benefit of the doubt. And so it is better to get as much as possible in writing. It's better it is expressed than implied. So if I say I'm giving you a loan, it could mean that I'm giving you a loan without any concept of recoverability. And so we need to establish that this loan is going to be recovered that you requested. You requested, I'm having a problem, and I need some money to purchase a car. I have not got a good credit rating, therefore I cannot approach the banks or other similar financial institutions. You know, we could get loans, or that person could get a loan from some financial institutions, and I don't want to mention them, but you will hear about them, and they could charge you up to 1,000%. And we're having regulation from the Financial Conduct Authority to try to regulate these boys, and saying your interest rates are too high. And there's one company which might take me to court, but it's exciting to mention them, because if you go on the line you'll see Wonga, and Wonga is being advertised on television, on radio, and in the newspaper quite a lot. They give the loan in minutes. But they also have harassing tactics. And they do not explain that if you falter, or if you refuse to pay or unable to pay one installment, that this multiplies a great deal against you. And so you pay. You started out with £300 of loan, and you might end up £6,000 of debt within a very, very short time. Okay, so in this case, we're saying that, just as an example, the organization might want to protect the worker and said, okay, fine, we will give you some help, and this help is given in the form of a loan, but you don't state that this loan is repayable, and at what time, on which point, and how it is repayable. over what period? And so you just make these deductions, and you have a bit of a problem. So, the deduction is regarded as anything which is less than what was expected. And so it is seen as a deduction. Remember we mentioned yesterday that it is possible that there is an error of computation, and therefore that's no problem. It's not. It's an error rather than real negligence. And so all the employer needs to do is to acknowledge that an error has taken place and that this error will be rectified.